very well aware of, and that is there is a semi-pro football team in the Chattanooga area called the Eagles, and they just got through completing their first season in the Gridiron Development Football League. They were division champions and made it to the national title game. With me on the phone is Nick LaFio, the general manager of the team. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening, Sam. How are you doing?
Not bad. Chattanooga Eagles football, tell us a little bit about it.
So the great thing about a league like this and our team is that it's an opportunity for some guys who didn't get a chance to maybe go play college ball, who didn't get recruited at a high level out of the area, to continue and have an opportunity to continue their career. We had a couple of guys go play at a different level after our season was over. We had one go off to play in a community college level out in Kansas, and then one of our wide receivers joined an arena football league and is going to be heading out to Nebraska here soon to play some football. So it's a great opportunity for these guys to continue their playing career.
In my previous 5 years, before moving down here to Chattanooga just a few months ago, I was involved in arena football and also with being a part owner of a semi-pro outdoor football team, which is very similar to the Eagles here. One of the biggest goals for any team, of course, you want to win. You want to do your best out on the field, no matter if it's indoor or outdoor. But you also have the mission of where you're trying to advance these players sometimes into another league or a higher level of play. And that seems to be the case here with the Eagles.
It is. It's 100% of what we do. Obviously what we want to do as a staff, the coaching staff, and even players, we want to win football games. That's obviously the key. I felt like we did a really good job of that this past year, going 9-2 and having an opportunity to play for a national championship and just coming up short. But looking at everything as a whole, you're going to be able to see that these guys, one, grow as men, and two, have an opportunity to continue their playing career at a different level, at even a higher level than what they do here.
Now, I did a little much as I could prior to the start of the broadcast tonight. You play teams from Georgia. I see there's a Tampa, there's an East Alabama, Huntsville, and Nashville. You got a couple of teams there from Georgia, the Crush, and also with the Knights. But you try to keep it within a close proximity of the teams that you play. Is that true?
You do, especially during the regular season. The league does a very good job of putting the teams that are geographically close together, because obviously at this level, travel is not the easiest thing in the world. We do have teams, especially this year, joining in the state of Ohio, the state of Pennsylvania, West Virginia. All that area up there is now joining this league, the GDFL. And of course, we played our national championship game out in Memphis against a team from Oklahoma City, who has now won that title 2 years in a row. They're a very, very, very good football team. But yeah, I mean, it's a growing league, but they do a very good job of regionally putting teams in the right area, because travel, like I said, is pretty difficult at this level of football. But it's an opportunity to get to play these teams locally, and you get bonds with those organizations too.
Now, one of the things with my association up in PA and Ohio, which the same two leagues that I worked with that you're referring to, the Ohio Football League and the PA Football League, very similar in nature. With those teams up there, players pay a nominal fee to play, and they pay for their own equipment, as far as the pads and the helmets and that sort of thing. You guys normally provide the jerseys, the pants and the shirt. Is that true?
So our guys, they do pay a very nominal fee. Last year they paid about $180 a fee to play for us. That included anything that they needed, your uniform. Now they did supply their own, obviously their own gear, but they did We supplied, obviously, our places to play. All that kind of stuff came into the fee. We try to make it to where they don't have to pay that much. You don't want these guys to have to pay a lot of money to play the game that they love.
Right.
Our goal is to eventually to pay players to play. And that's a lofty goal. But that's what you want to do, to grow this organization, like the teams out in Oklahoma, Nashville, and Memphis, who are able to do that because they've been around for so long.
Right.
It's just being our second year. We're not there yet. But they are paying just a small fee to play. But I think you would even ask any of them, they would do it over again anytime.
And that's very true. I mean, with the players from the Western Pennsylvania Kings, which I was part owner of and everything, what we did is we charged a nominal fee. It was less than what you were describing there for your team. And we told them that if you win, the division championship, I mean, we didn't make it too lofty. We would refund you that fee, and to give them incentive. They've got a stake in this, and we do as well, as far as from the ownership or management side of things. And we try to make it challenging enough, but still, if we did win, which we didn't, win the division championship, it's still not that much out of their pocket. Now, granted, yeah, we traveled to Ohio and all throughout Pennsylvania and stuff and playing, but the league commissioner and everything, just like what you said, they try to keep it where it's reasonable distances and you're not having to travel 250, 300 miles away. It's maybe within 100 miles for the most part. Now, the Chattanooga Eagles and everything, depending on, Nashville's 2 hours away. You've got Huntsville that's about the same distance. I don't know about where the two Georgia teams are located at, or East Alabama, but, very similar in setup as far as not having to really travel too far. And usually guys can carpool together. There's a bunch of friends that, get together and say, hey, all right, we'll ride together. But, there's practices involved that you have been doing at Central High School, I believe, this past season.
We did. We did play at Central High School, had a great relationship with Courtney Braswell, the head coach there, and worked together with them quite a bit. And, that's where we were playing last year. We're not 100% sure exactly what we're doing going forward this year. We still would like to be in contact with Central and other schools around. It's a partnership that I think you have to have with these schools. You're using their facilities, and that's awesome that they allow us to do that. And obviously, we want to repay them in not just ways of just renting the facilities to use, but also to be able to be partnership with them and do things in the community that way. So it would be, it'd be pretty awesome to be able to go to different places around the community and play in different places and support other high school football programs all throughout, the city.
What seems like one or two of the biggest challenges facing a team such as the Eagles? I mean, as far as with finding the players or the facilities or finding sponsors, to help offset some of the costs in order to market their business as being a marketing partner of the Eagles. So, they may be some of those areas, but are there others?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the first couple, especially. Obviously, starting out last year, it was, finding people to play is difficult, always, because the connotation with semi-pro football is it's not organized. It's not like that. This is not like that. This is very organized. It's a very well-run league, and it's always very organized. The teams always look as professional as possible at this level, and that kind of thing. So that it was tough to find players to get them to buy in. They did. Our players did buy in. Obviously, they bought into what Coach Hayden Clark did with being able to get the players to a national championship game in year one. So I don't think year two it's going to be as big of an issue. We have players reaching out to us now wanting to play for us because they've seen what we've done. They've talked to their friends who played with us and know what they're doing. You talked about the sponsorships. That's tough too. You're brand new. Nobody's going to really want to buy into you if they don't know what they can gain from you. Because you know how it is. Marketing is a two-way street.
Yes,
it's not just what can you gain; it's what can I gain too.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing. But I think as year 2 rolls around, it's going to get a little bit easier as we get spread. Our name gets spread around, and it's a positive thing to be spread.
Now, you say that you played your games at Central High School. Are the tickets nominal to get in, or free, or what?
Yeah, it's a $10 ticket.
Okay.
What we did was we didn't, we looked at around the league at what teams would charge, and tried to keep it exactly where the league average was, because we didn't want to, we needed to make enough money from ticket sales, but we also didn't want it to be ridiculously expensive, because it is what it is. It is a developmental football league. It's great to watch, and it's even better when it's in the summer when everybody wants football. So we thought $10 for adults, and any child 10 and under is free. Awesome. It's a great way to bring your kids out to watch a football game on a Saturday night in the middle of summer.
And there's a lot of families out there where they've got anywhere from 2 to 4 kids, and I know with my 6 boys, they now range from 30 down to 14, and it's like, you try to find the best possible entertainment value to something that they also enjoy and you also enjoy. And, where when you go to the concession stand, you're not dropping, a lot of money either. So, trying to find a fairly priced ticket, is not always easy, and that seems to be very reasonable. Now, you've got players that are going to be trying out and also having like a little mini camp coming up on December the 9th, I believe it is. Tell us a little bit about that. And if there's someone out there that's listening, it's like, man, I'd like to try out for this. It sounds like a pretty good game plan here. What can that individual do?
So the first thing that they can do, to answer that part first, follow us on Facebook, Chattanooga Eagles Football. The tryout page, the event is posted there. It'll be at Washington Hills Recreation Park over off of Highway 58, out near the Harrison area.
Okay.
It's a great area. A lot of our players are out there. They love that area, so we decided to do it there, just to give that little area a nice little place to have a little tryout. It's going to be a tryout. It's more going to be a lot like an OTA type thing in the NFL. It's not going to be like combine type things, but it will be kind of learning what we do, and if it's a good fit for you, and if you're a good fit for us. We want anybody who's interested in playing in this area to come out. It is a great opportunity. We want to be able to field a team of, it's an NFL roster size of, you can have up to 53. And we would love to have a full roster of 53. Last year we ran about 40 to 45, depending, usually 40 to 45. And so 53 on a roster would be outstanding to have, and it helps the depth. And, we're excited for those folks to come out on December 9th. And then again, the next week, we'll have another one on December 16th.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Do you remember the movie with Mark Wahlberg, and he, tried to walk on with the Philadelphia Eagles? Invincible. Thank you. I was trying to think of the movie. Now you're not necessarily looking for players like that, like me, I'm 51, fairly good size. I'd love to pound somebody, on the football field, playing defense or, on the line somewhere. But you're not necessarily looking for someone to be coming with a green cape on the back of them, like they're wanting to be that, Johnny Go Ready type of football player that's like chubby and overweight, and it's going to get hurt more than anything, even though they got the spirit, to play football. Are you looking for a particular age range or what?
Well, a lot of our guys, just to kind of give you an idea of where most of our guys range, we have a lot of guys that are fresh out of high school, so from anywhere from like 18 to 21. We also have guys in their late 20s, early 30s that still play. Now, that being said, in this league, you have a lot of guys who have played their whole lives. You're talking in their 40s and their 50s who are still playing just because they love the game. You know, there's no age limit to this. You know, it is a developmental football league. But if you want to play football and you want to continue to just to be able to play the game and have an opportunity to do that, come out. You know, it's not going to be any, you know, there's no judgment, no nothing like that. We're just trying to get a roster and get people who would fit into the kind of play that Coach Clark wants to do.
Now, I can give you a couple examples from previous experience with the Area Explosion, which they won back-to-back Continental Indoor Football League titles. And I got to get rings for being a part of that because of being a part of the broadcast team. But Big Dave McQuiston. Now, Big Dave is like 6'5", and I mean, he's like probably about 12 inches thick. I mean, front to back. Well, it got to be more than that. But he's like 340 pounds, and the guy is in great shape, and he did not quit playing until he hit 40. This guy here should have went on to bigger leagues. I mean, I don't think he would have made the NFL or anything like that, but it's like you wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark corner anywhere, but he's one of the nicest people you could ever come across. And then to kind of go the other side of things, Jared Lorenzen, who used to be a quarterback with the New York Giants. He actually started some games, and this was prior to Eli Manning, you know, taking over the reins there. He was a backup for Phil Simms for several years. And when he finally decided, you know, I've had enough of the NFL, you know, he was off for a year or two and decided to get back into the game of football. And he did arena football for Northern Kentucky. He took on the Erie Explosion. This boy here was 330 pounds playing quarterback. I'm talking QB, just like he did in the NFL, but he was only 6 foot. But he put on a ton of weight, and he injured himself where he broke his leg in that game. And in fact, it was the very first play of the game that they had possession of the ball. And so, you know, if you don't work out, you don't keep yourself in shape, no matter if you are 6'5", you know, 340 or 50 pounds and so forth, you know, you're not doing yourself any good, and especially the team, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt. But, you know, you can't, and both Jared and Big Dave, you know, played up until they were 40. And it was like, you know, sometimes guys have got it, others don't, just like Almond Joy and that other candy bar that they mix together with Mounds. There you go. Well, we ought to get together and do this show. You pick up where I drop off at. But anyway, I'm just saying.
You just let me know. I'll be there.
But anyway, you know, so, you know, if you think that you're 40 and you can still do it, play football, that is, wear the pads. Be there. I mean, do not discount it. I mean, if you think that you've got the regimen to stay in shape and everything and can be an Eagle proud, well, come out December 9th and December 16th and try your hand at it.
You got it. Yeah, we'll be there, and we're looking for a big turnout and hopefully, you know, continue to grow this great organization for this great city.
Now, do you feel that this league is going to pick up on having other teams that would be in our immediate area, or are we still looking at these same teams that we were talking about earlier as being a part of this division?
I think this division is going to pretty much stay the same. I think you'll see the Huntsville Rockets, who are a very, very good football team, the Georgia Knights, the Georgia Crush. I'm not sure about Tampa Bay. I haven't really heard a lot from them. I know that's a lot of travel for them.
Right.
You know, they're the only team in the state of Florida. So that's a lot of travel for them. But I do know that the teams that we played will be back. Those Georgia Crush, Georgia Knights, Huntsville Rockets. Those will be there in
East Alabama.
You know, and East Alabama Predators, yes. And then all those teams will. Now that East Alabama Predators team, that was a drive to go to Opelika, Alabama. But
yes, it would be
close to Auburn. But yeah, they'll be back, and it'll be about the same division, I would assume. The same 3 or 4 teams in the division.
Now, where's the 2 Georgia teams out of?
The Georgia Crusher in Macon.
Okay.
And the Georgia Knights are, I believe, based out of just north of Atlanta.
All right.
Yeah, so we played them twice last year, but both at home. So we did not travel to the Knights.
That's awesome.
So I'm not exactly sure. We did play the Crush in Macon, though.
Okay. That's really not that far to go.
No, it's really not that bad. The guys. I'm a big proponent of, I like road games better than home games. It's a lot less for me to have to worry about, but that's a little selfish. But the road games are a little bit easier on us as a staff, for sure.
Okay. So if people would like to find out more, they can go to ChattanoogaEagles.com.
You can, ChattanoogaEagles.com, and then there's also a link on there for our Facebook page, the Chattanooga Eagles football. I think it's football, just Chattanooga Eagles football. On Facebook, you can reach out to us, message there, and we'll reach out back to you as soon as we can. And we look forward, obviously, to seeing anyone there on December 9th and also December 16th.
So with the trial coming up on December 9th and December 16th, do they need to worry about getting their own pads and helmets?
No, helmets, yes, but it will be no pads. It'll be shorts or pants, depending on the weather. T-shirt, gloves, just receiver gloves, that kind of stuff. It's a more of a shell type practice without pads.
Okay, sounds like a plan, and hopefully you have a lot that will come out and will give you a lot to evaluate. So you have choices. You always love choices. So
yeah, it makes it a lot easier on the coaching staff. That's for sure.
That's right. Nick LaFew, general manager. The Chattanooga Eagles, and you can go to ChattanoogaEagles.com or check them out on Facebook with Chattanooga Eagles Football. And we hope you have a great turnout, and thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having us, and again, we'll be happy to join you.
News Talk Leader, Nooga Radio, all right. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
On Roger Road, a woman was pulled from a blazing building at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Firefighters got the call and were advised by 911 dispatch that a woman may still be inside the home. They found her, dragged her out, and performed CPR. EMS rushed her to the hospital. Firefighters got the fire put out. They say the home is a total loss. They're still calculating the dollar value, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Down in Dalton, Christian Morales is accused of making terroristic threats after the police say he fired rifle shots into the walls of his home while his girlfriend cowered inside. The police say they had gotten into an argument that led to Mr. Morales losing his temper and firing those shots. Nobody was hurt. Mr. Morales was taken into custody. He actually turned himself in. The Sean Hannity Show is on for your drive home from work at 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Radio News Talk 92.7 now.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
Jordan News Talk 92.7 Sports now. High school football action, week 2 of the playoffs gets underway tonight with South Pittsburgh facing Joe Burns in Class A football playoff action. Meigs County and Tyner will also be hosting and taking on their respective teams in Class AA. Red Bank will face York Institute at home in Class 3A. Chattanooga Central will hit the road at Greenville in Class 4A, and other teams will be looking at advancing in the second week of the high school playoff picture. A lot of letter of intent signings happening over the last several days. Whitwell's Cameron Haig signed a scholarship offer yesterday to continue playing softball at Division II King University in Bristol, Tennessee. And Reagan Hall from Cleveland signed with UT Chattanooga for continuing her golf career, along with Miranda Rich from Ringgold earlier this week. UTC Athletics noted that its graduation rate increased by 4% to 81% as the current graduation rate. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports now.
Expect lots of sunshine and very nice weather out there through your afternoon. Still a little breezy and cool, highs upper 50s. Tonight, clear, cold, and frosty overnight, lows low to middle 30s. For Veterans Day, more fine weather, lots of sun, highs upper 50s, more clouds, still looking dry through Sunday. Now at Lowe's, get a GE 7-foot pre-lit LED indoor and outdoor spiral design broach tree now for just $39. Offer valid through next Wednesday while supplies last. See Lowe's for details. In Orange Team 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Goss Insurance. Yes, we are local. And no, we don't have an 800 number. In fact, our mobile numbers are on our business cards. We live, work, play, and worship in Chattanooga. And we would love to help with your insurance. Business, auto, home, life insurance. Call now, save money. Call Goss Insurance for all your insurance needs. Goss Insurance, 875-2500. 875-2500.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big?
Whoa, look at the size of that.
There's a little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small.
They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, W.R. Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Isn't it amazing?
Spectacular. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the knife shop at Frost Cutlery, open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you'll love us. We're going to a knife shop. Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery open 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The knife shop.
Get 20% off now.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at NoogaRadio's.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
Anyway, you want to see the show as you listen to it. If you're by a computer or your smartphone, go to MikeOnline.com, click on the Watch the Show button, and you can watch the Mike Gallagher Show in action. You can kind of see our studio set up, and it's kind of an interesting thing to watch a show, I think. And we're also going to we're going to put a new background up here. We got some big plans. You'll see video clips. We're going to be Skyping, so you can actually watch people be interviewed as well as listen to them. We want to be all about the multimedia presentation of the show. So go to MikeOnline.com and click on the Watch the Show banner and watch the show in our studios here in Lower Manhattan, or actually when we're on the road as well. All right, you've heard this the big report, the breathtaking report, the bombshell report, the salacious report. The Judge Roy Moore is being accused of a sexual assault of a 14-year-old child 38 years ago. This story got real messy yesterday. Sean Hannity was falsely accused of defending this as consensual. That wasn't what he said.
Very nice weather out there, 3 your afternoon. Still a little breezy and cool, highs upper 50s. Tonight, clear, cold and frosty overnight, lows low to middle 30s. For Veterans Day, more fine weather, lots of sun, highs upper 50s, more clouds, still looking dry through Sunday. Now at Lowe's, get a GE 7-foot pre-lit LED indoor and outdoor spiral design broach tree now for just $39. Offer valid through next Wednesday while supplies last. See Lowe's for details.
Centers of Chattanooga offers non-medical solutions to your body's problems using the state-of-the-art technology called pulsed electromagnetic fields, PEMF for short. We help fuel the body's natural healing response. If you're tired of taking harmful, addictive drugs that only dull your pain and cause awful side effects, the knowledgeable, friendly staff at Pulse Centers can help you in that cycle.
Call to schedule a free whole body assessment at 423-771-7755. That's 423-771-7755.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at NoogaRadio's.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Chattanooga Radio. Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
On Roger Road, a woman was pulled from a blazing building at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Firefighters got the call and were advised by 911 dispatch that a woman may still be inside the home. They found her, dragged her out, and performed CPR. EMS rushed her to the hospital. Firefighters got the fire put out. They say the home is a total loss. They're still calculating the dollar value, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Down in Dalton, Christian Morales is accused of making terroristic threats after the police say he fired rifle shots into the walls of his home while his girlfriend cowered inside. The police say they had gotten into an argument that led to Mr. Morales losing his temper and firing those shots. Nobody was hurt. Mr. Morales was taken into custody. He actually turned himself in. The Sean Hannity Show is on for your drive home from work at 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Radio News Talk 92.7 now.
All right. After that exchange, we appreciate the quick attentiveness of our program director, Mike Steele, for getting his back on track. Normally, there's not a sports talk show on Friday nights. Now, this week, yes, it's a little bit different. We are here. We are with you live on Facebook. We are also on YouTube and, of course, at NoogaRadio.com. And, of course, our core channels of 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. So, PD Mike Steele having to make some changes on the fly, but that's okay. It's a great thing, all right? It was a pleasure talking with Nick LeFew from the Chattanooga Eagles and general manager of that squad, and we talked a little bit about their season that they had, their inaugural season. And, of course, they're going to be starting their season in May. But they've got tryouts coming up if you want to be a part of the team, if you've got the goods that can make things happen. Well, they would like to see you on Saturday, December 9th, and also on the 16th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Washington Hills Neighborhood Association Complex in Chattanooga, just off Route 58. So make sure you check that out. All right, let's get into talking some high school sports in our area. First, we'll start with basketball. Yes, basketball is already underway here in the Chattanooga area with the Jamboree that was got underway last night at Chattanooga Christian High School with some key matchups, McCallie and Howard and Girls Prep School against Notre Dame. So a lot of great things high school basketball-wise coming out of the hoops already prior to the start of the season. So it's going to be a fun time for these student athletes to get the rust off and, have those early season, preseason matchups against some of their friends across the Tennessee Valley. Football. Playoffs are going on. Yes, playoffs. Week 2, in fact, if you haven't heard. And a lot of great action going on. One of the games going on is Bradley Central's game. They are in action tonight. Now, I just had my sheet in front of me. Let me pull it here real quick. That's what you get with live radio. But an outstanding player, quarterback for Bradley Central, that is none other than Dylan Standifer, has already impressed a lot of people around the region because he came in and took the place of none other than Copeland, who was the quarterback for UTC Chattanooga, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And then Copeland got hurt, but no word on when he's going to be back. But Standifer, just in one season alone, has already broke a record that Copeland had already had, along with many other records in the QB slot there for Bradley Central. And he's already got the record for most passing yards in one season. Now, it kind of really got capped off with a perfect 13 for 13 for 300 yards in the Walker Valley game earlier this season. Overall, Standifer has thrown for over 2,800 yards and almost 30 touchdowns. That is something that is unheard of. And, Standifer, I believe, still has another season to go, maybe two at the most. But Standifer has really done a great job, and coaches are very impressed with him and the things that he has been able to do. Okay, so we've got that with high school football. A lot of games going on, around the region tonight. Red Bank is hosting York Institute, just right up the road from us. And, we want to wish all of our local area teams the best of success in their endeavors. And, hopefully they will be able to enjoy. And I found a sheet that I was looking for. That's what you get with live radio. So let's go over some of the contests. South Pittsburgh, who's 11-0, they are taking on Joe Burns, who's coming into tonight's contest with a 9-2 record. South Pittsburgh's undefeated with a 10-0 record. Whitwell, who had a school record of 10 victories with this season, is taking on Gordonsville. And Gordonsville coming in with a 7-4 record. And with Lookout Valley, that was the team that Gordonsville beat last week. That was the most victories that they had in 5 years. Third season with 5-6 records. So, a lot of teams that may have been eliminated in last week's playoff action, are being able to learn a lot from this. And that's just in the Class A side. Meigs County, another undefeated team. They are 11-0. They are taking on Tyner, who's on a 9-game winning streak. They're 9-2. And then you've got Marion County and Trousdale County that are going to be going up against each other. And also Watertown is in that mix as well as far as in the Class AA playoffs. Class AAA, Red Bank, prior to last week's game, they had scored 40 points in 7 of their 8 games that they had leading into the playoffs. And they are taking on York Institute, who defeated Signal Mountain last week. And that was Signal Mountain's first playoff game in 3 years. But they exited out early. So that would have been an interesting contest with Red Bank and Signal Mountain. But instead, it's Red Bank and York Institute, both with 9-2 records going into tonight's game. Class Quad A, Chattanooga Central, who just edged out Sullivan South last week by 3 points, 45-42, is taking on Greenville tonight in Greenville. Greenville is 11-0. They had eliminated Eastridge last week, 56-7. So we've seen quite a few blowouts in a lot of the games, and only 2 teams that were the road team, and that being Knox West, and then also Baylor, who pulled an amazing upset over Ensworth last week. Those were the only 2 road teams that were able to progress into week 2 of the playoffs. So, it's something to be said. Just because you're on the road doesn't mean that you can't succeed at winning, in the playoffs by being the visiting team. Class 5A, Knox West. That was one of the other ones I mentioned. So there was 3 teams. Knox West is taking on Oak Ridge in Class 5A action. That's, I believe, at Oak Ridge. So that's up the valley. Class 6A, we've got Bradley Central taking on, I believe, Farragut or Dobbins-Bennett, one or the other. I believe it might be Dobbins-Bennett, who had defeated Ottawa. So Bradley Central, who got a 7-point differential victory, 41-34 over Science Hill last week. Bradley Central's going into it with a 9-2 record. And then in Division II, Class A, Fayette Academy, who defeated Chattanooga Grace Academy last week. They are progressing along in their playoff run. Division II AA, Notre Dame with a 9-game winning streak, taking on Knoxville Webb, who knocked out Chattanooga Christian last week. And Knoxville Webb with a 7-3 record, and Notre Dame with that 9-1 record. So that's going to be a fairly competitive and close game. And we'll find out later on tonight how that end result was. Division II AAA, as I said, Baylor pulled off the upset of the week, maybe a couple weeks at that. Baylor only 4-7 on the season, and they had defeated Ensworth, who was a 7-3 team last week. But Baylor goes on, and they will be taking on MBA, who's 8-2 in tonight's contest. McCallie is at Briarcrest. McCallie with a 7-3 record. Briarcrest with a 9-1 record. So that's a look at the high school playoff action for tonight. Now tomorrow, that's another day. So with that, we've got football to talk about. So let's go over what's going on tomorrow. And to Mr. Steele, if you can give me some sort of a sign as far as time, that would be great at your earliest convenience. Let's go over the NCAA college football playoff rankings. Number 1, Georgia is at number 10, Auburn. Georgia coming into it with a 9-0 record. Auburn at 7-2. Alabama, they're 9-0, and they're at number 16, Mississippi State, who's hosting that game with a 7-2 record. One of the top games people are looking at is number 3, Notre Dame, who's coming in with an 8-1 record. They are at number 7, Miami, with an 8-0 record. Number 4, Clemson is hosting Florida State. Number 5, Oklahoma is hosting number 6, TCU, both schools with 8-1 records, but they won't be after tomorrow. Number 7, well, we already said about Miami and taking on number 3, Notre Dame. Number 8, Wisconsin, who's 9-0, is hosting number 20, Iowa, who is 6-3. Ninth place in the country is the Washington Huskies with an 8-1 record. They are going to be at Stanford, and that game's going on tonight at 10:30. So a little bit of a precursor for the weekend with that game there. And number 11, USC, 8-2 on the season. They are at Colorado, and the Buffaloes with 5-5 record. Michigan State, 7-2 on the season at number 13, Ohio State. They are at the Buckeyes place. They're at the Horseshoe in Columbus. And that will be an interesting game. That, I believe, is on ABC tomorrow or Fox, one or the other, because they've been doing some switching around as far as who's been doing the Big Ten. And sometimes you'll see it on ABC. Sometimes it'll be on Fox. So, but that will be a good game there in Columbus. Number 14, Penn State. They've lost 2 in a row to Ohio State and Michigan State. They're hosting Rutgers with a 4-5 record in that contest tomorrow afternoon at Beaver Stadium there in University Park, PA, which is only about a half hour from where I used to live at. So we'll be rooting on our Nittany Lions. And then we've got number 15, Oklahoma State, 7-2 on the season. At number 21, Iowa State, 6-3. Never thought we'd hear about Iowa State being in the top 25, but this year they've done pretty decent. After that, we got number 17, Virginia Tech, who is coming into the contest with a 7-2 record at Georgia Tech. Take on the Bulldogs, or Yellow Jackets, rather. Georgia Tech with a 4-4 record. Number 18, Central Florida. That's a team on the rise. They've got an 8-0 record. They're hosting University of Connecticut with a 3-6 record. So Central Florida should be able to advance to a 9-0 record after that meeting tomorrow. Number 19, Washington State, 8-2 on the season. At 5-4, Utah. The Utes trying to play spoiler if they can. And then we talked about Iowa. At Wisconsin, that'll be an interesting contest. Number 21, Iowa State's hosting number 15, Oklahoma State, as we mentioned. Number 22, Memphis, who's 8-1 on the season. They're off this week with a bye, and they'll be back in action on the 18th. All right, number 23, NC State, 6-3 on the season at Boston College, up there in Boston, Mass. Boston College Eagles coming in with a 5-4 record. Number 24, LSU, 6-3 on the season. Ed Orgeron as the head coach, hosting Brett Bielema and the Arkansas Razorbacks, my boys, 4-5. So, yeah, I feel it too. It could be a hard one tomorrow down in Louisiana. Number 25, Northwestern, 6-3 on the season, hosting Purdue, who's 4-5. Purdue has played some pretty good teams, so I'm not discounting Purdue here from possibly upsetting Northwestern, who just is getting into the top 25 poll. But I think a lot of eyes and ears are going to be tuned in around 4:30 p.m. with Tennessee and Missouri. Tennessee coming in with a 4-5 record with 0-5 in the conference. And they're going to be up in Columbia, Missouri to take on the Tigers, who's also 4-5, but they've got a conference win, so they're 1-4. And it will be interesting to see how that transpires. Tennessee coming off with a one-game win streak. Hey, you got to hope here for the best. This is their last road game of the season. They've got LSU at home next week, and then Vanderbilt to finish out the season on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And LSU has the better record out of the three teams that Tennessee's facing with that 6-3 mark right now. But Tennessee, I'm really hoping that they will have success the rest of the season. Vanderbilt, they should be able to take care of, should. LSU could go either way. Missouri, that could go either way as well, but I'm going to go out on a limb and pick the Vols. I have no ties to Tennessee other than working here in Chattanooga. And I'm telling you, I think the Tennessee Vols are going to finally get their game face going. Now, they still got 3 people that are out for the season. They've got 6 people in particular that are questionable because of injuries, including Jarrett Garantano, which just announced today is going to be coming right up to game time on whether or not he gets to play in this weekend's game up in Missouri. So, I mean, they're holding out to the very last moment with that particular injury, whether or not he is healthy enough to play. And I'm sure Coach Jones does not want to get into a similar situation where taking a chance of further hurting Garantano and his abilities of playing. All right, so that is college football out of the way. And while we got a moment before the end of the show, let's talk about NFL football. Tennessee Titans tight end Delaney Walker is listed as questionable for Sunday's matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Walker missed Wednesday and Thursday's practice and was limited in action earlier today. So that will be a game-time decision as well for the Titans. Now let's take a look at the game. Seattle defeated Arizona 22-16. What did you think about those uniforms? I just turned it over just to see, flipping through the channels, and I see these green uniforms. And yeah, I know green is their color, but those were atrocious. And then Arizona's wasn't that much better. They were black with red numerals and letters, and that wasn't that great to look at either. So I don't know how the ratings came out for that game. But anyway, games starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Cincinnati at Tennessee. Cleveland at Detroit. I don't know, Cleveland, whether they're going to win a game this year or not. Unless they play the 49ers, that might be the only way they can get a win. LA Chargers are at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been a surprise team this year. Tom Coughlin, former coach of the Giants, down there coaching the Jaguars and doing a good job. The Jets are at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay almost as bad as Cleveland and San Francisco. Green Bay, who got embarrassed, with Detroit Monday night. They're playing at Chicago. New Orleans is at Buffalo. Buffalo, I wish would pull the upset there. Just saying. Pittsburgh's in Indianapolis. Pittsburgh should have no problems with that one. Minnesota at Washington. Washington is a surprise team. Minnesota really is because they've only lost 2 games this year. 4:05 game has Houston at L.A. Rams. Then at 4:25, Dallas at Atlanta. As expected, neither one of those teams will take a knee because both owners, Jerry Jones and Arthur Blank, have said if you do, you're gone. Giants are at San Francisco. Giants with a 1-7 record and San Francisco with an 0-9 record. Who's going to be the better of the 2 teams? I'll root for the Giants. New England Sunday Night Football at Denver. New England 6-2, Denver 3-5. And then Monday night, it's Miami at Carolina. Miami, I would root for. The Dolphins, they've had a pretty good season. Even though they're 4-4, that's a little misconceived there. And Carolina is 6-3. I just don't like Cam Newton. I just think he's a blowhard. And, I just don't get into players like that. Don't forget, Sunday, 1:30 through the facilities of the Motor Racing Network, it's the Can-Am 500 in Phoenix International Raceway. And that sounds like it's time for me to go away for the weekend. I hope. We'll talk to you again sometime soon. I'm Sam Jordan, Sports Talk with Sam Jordan here on Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 and 95.3 HD4. Have a great weekend and catch as many games as you can. Talk about it on Monday, all right? See you later.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Getting cold and frosty by morning, lows into the lower to middle 30s. For Veterans Day, nice weather expected. Lots of sunshine. Highs still cool into the upper 50s. For Sunday, still looking dry with more clouds back into the 50s. Now at Lowe's, get a GE 7-foot pre-lit LED indoor and outdoor spiral design rope tree now for just $39. Offer valid through next Wednesday while supplies last. See store for details. And I'm Store Keys for all she's meteorologist Patrick Moore.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
WBLZ HD4 Ooltewah, W224AZ Chattanooga.
92.7 Digital FM 95.3 HD4 Chattanooga.
A flat denial from embattled Alabama Republican Roy Moore.
It never happened, and I don't even like hearing it because it never happened.
And an admission from an award-winning comedian.
Louis C.K. admits these stories are true.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Pam Coulter. His Alabama Senate campaign in turmoil, Republican Roy Moore is fighting back against allegations that he initiated sexual contact with a 14-year-old girl when he was a 32-year-old prosecutor. CBS's Bill Rakoff has the latest.
The former Alabama Supreme Court Justice told radio host Sean Hannity that
these allegations are completely false and misleading. But more than that, it hurts me personally because, I'm a father. I have 1 daughter. I have 5 granddaughters, and I have a special concern for protection of young ladies.
Moore said that he never engaged in sexual misconduct and